Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. And that's got to change also. I don't know why it cut out. That actually annoys me because now everybody that donated, let me see if I can get them reappearing. Because I like, by me having to do that, it takes away all the donations. So give me 1 second. Yes, take two. I like what Brooks Brick said to me. He said, I tempted the stream gods by starting too early. I am just trying to redo the donations because I want to make sure they appear at the end of my stream, so bear with me for just a second. I'm hoping by me redoing them, they will reappear. Yeah, I don't know why it's... Although the weather is crappy by me, so... Like I said, Steve can attest to that. I'm going to blame the weather. Okay, I think I got all the donations popped back up, so hopefully they will regenerate at the end of the stream. At least that was my goal anyway. Yeah, I don't know either, Guy. For some reason, it's just... Yeah, Steve's got it. Paging Elon Musk. That's exactly what we need to do. It's his fault. We'll blame him. It's his service. And now hopefully we can continue on. It was them. Anyway, though, hopefully it's back and it'll stay steady this time. Because I hate when that happens. But what I don't know if I got to finish saying what I was saying or not before it cut out. I started talking to everybody in my Discord side chat. Because I have my little window so everybody can notice me. Or help me on things that they notice. But what I was saying, though, anyway, was generally any time that you're doing wiring, so I don't know if this got through in the last portion of the stream, and again, I apologize for that blip, but you should always push your plate, your brick, whatever, towards the wire first, and then push it down. Don't ever push the opposite end in and then put it at it, because then it's like a scissor, and generally you're going to probably cut the wire, was the tip I was kind of trying to give, I think, when I cut out. Let's see if we can piece this building back together now. And that wasn't the boss, so I'm good. Mike says he's sorry, he won't break it. I'm not very good at computers either, buddy, so don't feel bad. I am not one to talk. I'm hoping. I used to be good at computers once upon a time, but that was a very long time ago. And that was back when Windows was new. I am not good anymore, though. There we go. Let's pull that up for a minute. Okay, so it did cut out. And like I said, that is the point I wanted to get at when installing wiring, is never, I guess I could probably show you doing it this way. When you're putting your wiring together, it's always better to push the brick up against, if the wire is in between here, you push the bricks together and then snap this side in first and snap the outside in after. What I see a lot of people do is they'll just take their tile, they'll snap it here, and then they'll go to push the tile here, And what happens is these two edges will catch, and that's what causes the scissoring and causes the cut in the wire. And yet, thank you, Brooks or Matt, for noticing that. And yeah, I did date myself, so that was my own fault. I guess I need to watch that, huh? And let's do. I am going to redesign this guy just a little bit. Okay, that's got to go up one more row. Then we can put him on here. Actually, you know what? I got a better way to hide that. Because we had a signboard over here before. Bear with me. Paul's always the funny guy. There's always one in every crowd. You ever notice that? And why was that you decided to visit us again today, Paul? Was it just to give me a hard time? And let's put that guy right there. Trying to keep the wire as hidden as possible, which can be a little bit of a pain while we're working our way back up to the top, and I'm trying to not blind the camera with it also. Yes, there definitely is a whole farm in this crowd. This is, you know, we call it the funny farm, but it's probably more the old folks farm, if we were going to be honest. And now that I'm at this point, there is something else that I do need to do. And what that is, because this is going to go on the ceiling. And let's grab that part. That's going to go there. That looks good. But now we got to bring our light out to here. And that's what I was talking about earlier, about how I want to, because I'm just going to show you how I'm going to try and dim some of these lights. This particular light is a clear light, and what I'm going to be doing on this particular one is I'm just putting a dark or a light gray, I should say, trans piece over it, just to hide it a little bit. So now we're going to take that piece off. And this is where I'm going to do a little bit more modification. So let me pull this back apart. Because what I want to have happen is I want the wire to be in between these bricks, like so. If I can get that to lock down, see, like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and lock that part together, and that should help keep the wire hidden anyway. Mind you, there is going to be a lot of wire up on the ceiling still. And we're going to plug that in as a test here in just momentarily. Let me get this wall reassembled. Funny Farm Unite. And I need my mind is what I need. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So let's put one more of those bricks there, and I need a 3 and a 3. So let me get 2 pieces. The other stream just came back up, Steve, is what you're saying? And yes, I never had an Apple as a kid. I really want to date myself. Actually, I take that back. God, actually, you know what? 1985, we did get an Apple computer. No, we got IBM. That's what it was. But originally, my very first computer, and this is probably going to go back for some people and give them a good laugh. My very first computer ever was a Commodore 64. How's that for dating myself? See how many people recognize that. I used to play all kinds of games on that. I loved that freaking computer. But to today's standards, oh my God, people would not be happy. And mind you, a lot of this is going to be attached to the ceiling, is how I'm going to hide a lot of that wire. I'm just trying to kind of give you guys a general idea of how that's going to look. Hey, Steve Divany, how you doing? And here's what I'm thinking now for the other lights out here. I'm thinking, because I got this light white here, even though it really doesn't appear that way, I'm thinking about yellowing this one out and then going back with a white over here again as well. Steve says his first computer was a Gateway. I remember those. And, oh my God, Guy Meyer says he still has a Commodore 64. Raven says an 8086 computer, baby, the one with the green screen. And, oh my God. Well, see, my Commodore 64 only had a green screen as well, so I can relate to the green screen. I do remember a VIC-20. The 8086, though, see, I remember computers as Commodore 60. Well, I do remember there was computers out before Commodore 64, but what it was is I didn't get a computer until Commodore 64 it came out. And when I had the Commodore 64, just to show you how old that was, I didn't have a modem for that. It wasn't until I got my first, I believe it was the IBM that got the modem. But on my Commodore 64, I actually had a cassette tape drive, and then I had a floppy drive. There was no small 3 3/4 drives. It was just the big floppies and a cassette tape for the 2 different drives that I had for my Commodore 64. But I used to play all kinds of different D&D games and things like that on that particular computer. It was a lot of fun, to say the least. And hey, how you doing, Lego Rhapsody? It's nice to see you as well, my friend. And John, the Lego Fire guy, how are you? John is trying to build himself a nice skyscraper right now. I remember Tandy, yes. God, that's a name I haven't heard in forever. like totally forever. Do I want? Yes, I want that there. This. It's funny once people start saying names of stuff, all the different computers that there were. Well, yeah, technically computers were typewriters back in the days. And yes, 80s was an interesting time for computers. They were making a lot of advances and a lot of strides, though, really quickly. Hey, how you doing, Paul S., and welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could make it on, my friend. That was my first video game system, was Pong. And if I remember correctly, there was a total of 5 different games on the Pong that I had. And it was just this little black box with these 2 remote controls you pulled off of it with a joystick, like the old Atari 2600. And you just moved it back and forth to catch it. You could play tennis. You could play, it was like a super breakout type game. And no, I do not have any of the first generation books. I actually gave those to my nephew because he was heavy into it. And it's just like I used to have, for those of you that may or may not remember, back in the 80s when D&D was really, really heavy, they had tons and tons and tons. I mean, you could go anywhere and buy them. It was the little pewter figurines that you would paint. I had a metal tin just full of those, and I gave all those away too. Kind of wished I hadn't, but too little too late. I don't remember which number was the first, but I did have first generation books, but I don't anymore. That is awesome that you got to get some old sets like that. That is very awesome. And what I'm going to do with these is just kind of let the wires hang loose for now, because I'm going to have to come back in here and do this store. Right now I'm just trying to get some of the lighting done. Let me scoot this camera down this way a little bit. I'm trying to keep it out of my way so I can work. And let's start working on this light now. I want to get the yellow where, there it is. Yes, that is all it did. The beep boop beep boop. Oh man, I feel sorry for you. That is never a good thing. John is in a box factory, so I know it is insanely hot where he's at right now. And I'm going to do the same trick to this one, guys. I'm going to just pull this apart. And just showing you once again, I'm hoping you can see there's a gap right here on the bricks. All I'm simply trying to do is get the wire in that little gap. And then I'm kind of just pushing the cables back, or the bricks back together. I'm hoping you guys can see that. I am going to try and lower this down a little bit, because I want you guys to see how I'm doing this. I hope that makes it a little better anyway. If I could get it to focus. There we go. So I'm doing that because this brick on top is my snot brick, and I'm going to show you right now. So all I'm simply going to be doing once I put that in there is I'm taking this piece. I want to try and get as much or as little wire out here as possible. I'm just keeping just that little touch of wire, because now what I'm going to be doing is I'm taking this piece and then I'm just going to tuck that part. And I might not have gave myself enough wire. It looks like I did. And then let me put, this is what I was talking about, how I was going to make it look aged. Believe it or not, this is a Lego part. This is a very old Lego part, and that part is actually faded. So I'm going to use that to put over the yellow to give it a real dingy look. Now let's put this back together. And now let's plug it in, and let me get the camera back a little bit so we can see how this one works. And hopefully, if I did it right, I didn't damage the wire. There. Now that kind of gives us that yellowing, ugly, old light on the back of it. And now I'm going to go back to white on this next one. So now let's come back up and get a little close again so we can see that one. Can I do a tutorial on how to do buildings? I never really, I've given lots of tips on it. I don't know necessarily about what you mean on a tutorial. I sell instructions for my buildings on Rebrickable. I can do some tip videos on different things to give you ideas for greebling and things of that nature, if that's kind of what you mean by that. Paul Bott was saying, have you actually done any cleaning, or is it still a big sty? No, actually it's just to scan around real quick. I'm hoping you can tell anyway. I still have, what I have up here, Paul, this is all my bulk pieces. And this is a bunch of lighting bags and whatnot. But believe it or not, I have done a lot. And a lot of that, I need to do a lot more because it's looking like I'm going to be doing that Houston job after all, from the sounds of it anyway. And if that's the case, I'm going to have to do a real big heavy cleaning. I still got to issue them one more final submission on costs before we come to a total agreement. But it is looking like I'm going to have that particular job. And put that light there. So that's got those three on. And now we got to get one more light for this guy, and I'm going to show you that technique one more time. We're going to be going back with the white. Did I see what if yet? I'm not sure on what the what if is. And thank you so much for plugging that, Matt. And yes, absolutely. And how are you, Ned? I'm sorry, I just noticed you in here. But yes, well, we've come to an agreement on a whole bunch of things, so it's looking like Houston is going to be a go. It's going to be a lot like New York. I want to say that, though, because I know a lot of people, they think because I'm doing a commission job that it's going to be all custom builds and stuff, and it's really not. What it's going to be is primarily sets like New York was, but what they're after, just like New York, they're after lighting. So our final thing that we've kind of come down to is it's primarily just going to be sets. I'm going to do a little bit of modifications to them, but we're going to be adding a ton of lighting. That is their big key, is lighting, 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 lighting is what they kept telling me. So to keep their costs down, we decided to go with the set thing. I'm kind of bummed on it in the aspect of I would really like to build some custom mocks, but they're just worried about lighting, so that's the most important thing. So that's going to be the focus of the build. With Ned B just donated $2.99. Thank you so much, my friend. He said meet for the $2.99. But anyway, that was what I was going to say, though. Is it looks like looks like we've come to an agreement on most things. I've got one final, which I need to get working on this weekend. I got one final submission I got to do, and then hopefully it'll be gloves off and time to party and get busy. So I will be getting clean out here extremely quick. So Paul Bot can quit yelling at me because I'm going to have to clean it whether I want it or not. And then the barn is going to go nuts, crazy, dirty because when I build, I'm a slob. That is one of my original Lego parts back from the 80s, is how that is so grungy. Thomas Davey, I've really done nothing at all to that. That is actually how that piece looks. And I was going to try and see I don't know if it'll zoom in enough for you or not. But as you can see, it is an official Lego piece. It's a very, very old Lego piece. But like I said, I've had that piece since the 80s, and I just thought that would be kind of a neat use for it. Why not add some vintage parts into my new builds? But how to get it that way, if you ever wanted to take and make a piece look that way, and I don't recommend this to most people because most people would cringe at what I'm about to say, but if you get a really light sandpaper, what I mean by that, take you like a 600 grit sandpaper, or if you can be gentle, because I have a very small airbrush sandblaster, you can actually sandblast a piece and still get that same look if you wanted to create one physically, but this is actually created from age itself. As far as a step-by-step building tutorial, Recon Warrior, no, I won't be doing any of those. They take entirely too long. I just don't have the time to do those. I did them a long time ago, and I found that it was more of a pain than it was worth, and that's why I will not do step-by-step tutorials anymore. If anything, because what it is, I have a friend of mine, Paul Roos, amazing at making instructions. He makes the instructions for me, and then we post them on Rebrickable. That's the only way I do how-to videos or it's not how I do how-to videos. It's the only way I do how-tos for builds anyway. And thank you so much, Thomas Davey. Bricks says, yes. Like I said, it's just, it would be useful, but the only way that, okay, I see what Matt's saying. The only way that a step-by-step would be useful is if I was going to take, say, for example, my Avengers Tower and try and make a step-by-step on that. But that, I mean, it's just building, because most of my buildings are, in my opinion, insanely large, and I wouldn't want to spend 6 months to make a how-to video on something I just spent 6 months making. But like I said, tips and tricks, trying to show people how to do greebling, different techniques to get depth and things like that. I do intend on trying to do again, but just not an actual step-by-step of any buildings. And there you go, Steve. I would, and there's a lot of stuff like that, like what I was just telling you guys, that I know how to do and I could do. And a lot of it is because there's a lot of Lego snobs out there, I should say. And here's what I mean by Lego snobs. There's a lot of people that get really, really butthurt if you alter it in any way, if you drill in it in any way. Oh my God, I'm a purist. Oh, you can't do that. And so I try to steer clear of doing a lot of different things like that. There's a lot of different things I could teach people and show people from different hobbies I've had over the years. Because I used to build in airbrush and paint and all that, and I used to do my RC cars, do custom paint jobs and murals and stuff on them. I used to be a body man. I went to school for body work. Motec. Steve would know exactly what I'm talking about by me saying Motec. Unless you live in Michigan, I don't know that you would know what Motec is, but I used to have 4 of my mechanic certifications, and I had 5 of my auto body certifications back when I was a young man. But anyway, the point I was going to get at is I used to do a lot of custom work, custom builds, custom things. And that's where I have a lot of the little tools that I have. Talking about like the airbrush thing, for example. I don't know how many people are familiar with it these days, but there used to be a company called Eastwood. They sold an amazing amount of tools. They were kind of like, I guess a good way to explain Eastwood is they were kind of like a Harbor Freight for mail order. Because before Harbor Freight started becoming a local type store, everything that I had growing up as far as custom tools and little neat trinket type tools always came from Eastwood. Eastwood had some of the most amazing little tools that you could find. Now you can get them on Amazon, Harbor Freight, anywhere anymore. But when I was growing up, Eastwood was the place to go. But that's where I've got... And see right there, Matt says he's fully admitting that he's cut. Oh, Steve went to Motec too. Okay. Steve, I'm trying to remember what year was it I graduated from Motec. I believe it was 93. Well, I was going to say you could... Because I used to be in that hall... Remember how they had the main hallway when you'd walk in the back of the building of the mechanic shop, and then they had everybody's pictures on the walls and all that? But I would have been 93 was the year that I got or went through Motec. But that's awesome. Somebody that knows what I'm talking about when I say Motec. Avocado, hey, how you doing? Ned B says back to work, night all. Thanks for signing in, Ned, and thanks again for the donation. That was awesome, you, my friend. Philippe says I've never tried to modify any piece, not because I'm a purist, but because I'm worried I'd screw them up. And now, Philippe, I can totally understand that, and I totally get that. And I don't mind people saying that at all. But the reason that I was kind of making fun a little bit is because there's a lot of time. Well, I'll give you a prime example. For those of you that are not aware, I posted 2 different polls in my community tabs. It was about 3 or 4 days ago, discussing me possibly starting to do LED lighting. I'm definitely going to be selling weapons. I'm definitely planning on doing stickers, and then also weapon or accessories. And then I'm looking at even possibly, actually, that was it. But anyway, I put the question in the poll regarding what would you buy, or if you're even interested, so on and so forth, if I was to make any of these products and start offering them for sale, things of that nature. And I could not believe how many people, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't like tons and tons, but I had at least a good 5 to 10 comments, and quite a few of them I just deleted. I thought, you know what, no response is a response. But I had quite a few comments that were referring to, and I don't see a previous comment, Paul. But I had quite a few people that were kind of eating me up on that. And I would never buy anything that you sold because it's not official Lego. And it's like, that's fine, but that's why I put the poll up, and that's all you had to do was checkpoint it. You didn't have to come out and say, I'm a purist. I'm not buying your stuff. And it's like, That's fine, whatever. But just check the box. I don't have to hear from you. But to me, it was just some of the snotty comments that I saw. It was, okay, you're a purist, but how are you going to light a mock if you're a purist? Because Lego lighting is garbage. And not only that, I don't see a lot of the sticker, because when I hear purist, here's kind of my interpretation of the word purist. A purist is somebody that's only going to use official Lego pieces, and they will add like lighting and things like that, but it's when it comes to the actual builds, it's 100% official Lego parts. I get that, and I have no problem with people doing that at all. And holy cow, thank you so much. John Evans just donated $19.99. He says it's been a while. Hope everyone is doing well, and I am doing great. And thank you so much for that donation. That was very kind to you, John. But anyway, as far as doing that, though, to me, I don't see nothing wrong, and I guess maybe it's because I'm just not a purist, but I don't see nothing wrong. And Paul, the only comment I see... Oh, wait a minute. Looking forward to when you get the bills. I don't know that I'm going through Oklahoma, Paul. I'm not really even sure. Okay, you just posted it again. Let's say I was just scrolling back to look at it. But as far as meeting people, I don't know that I would... If it's just me, I would love to stop, because I would love to meet you. I would love to meet John Evans, for that matter, because I want to say he might be in that route. There was a couple other people, I think, that might be in that route. But if it's just me, like me and my son, I would probably do it. Me and the wife have been talking about kind of making it a family vacation kind of along the way. And if I was doing that, I mean, might stop for a quick hi, but I'm not going to make my wife sit and listen to me talk Lego while she's waiting for me to go do something else. So it just depends on if it's going to be a solo trip or just me and my kid, or if it's going to be me and the family. If it's just me kind of on a solo trip, I will definitely be trying to hook up and see if we can't make some stops along the way. And what I would like to do is, if I am going to be able to do that, is make some quick recordings and say, hey, look, I'm actually with Paul Bot. He's not a bot, or stuff like that. Be funny. But like I said, it all depends on if I'm going to be traveling with the family or not, as to what my plans would be as far as for meeting people. But I would like that if it's going to be just me, and even if it's just me and my son. Steve was saying I'm mad about buying some old King sets. I have never heard of those, but I know you showed some of them, and I think that would be really cool. It's not. I'm not saying that you're not my family. It's just I don't want to torture my wife, is what it boils down to. And Lego Rhapsodies was saying, what if the new Marvel show? Not sure. John Evans says, hey, I'm a huge fan of Lego. However, I would buy custom minifig stickers, weapons, and other things Lego doesn't make. And that, sorry, because I kind of got off track. That was kind of the point I was trying to make, is to me, I get being a purist, and even I am kind of a purist, but I'm only a purist in the aspect of I will use stuff that Lego makes, but I will buy other products. I don't have a problem with it, especially if Lego doesn't make it. But I guess I don't really relate to being a purist. I relate more as being a Lego snob, is what I would call it. I prefer Lego, but I will even use off-brand pieces if I had to. But I guess my idea of a purist and other people's idea of a purist are totally different, because to me, lights and stickers and such isn't not being a purist, but to some people apparently it will. Thomas Davies says, Daryl, let Angel do some shopping and such while you're in to a Lego meetup. It's you guys are getting funny now. If your studs are showing us any, I don't know if it goes through Idaho or not. I don't even remember what freeway it is I was looking at taking to get to Texas. But I do. Hey, Blinky Bricks, how you doing, my friend? And he says a purist is another name for a beekeeper, I think. I've never heard it put that way. But as far as the out west question, I'm sorry, I was looking at something else. I don't know if Idaho goes through my route or not. it's been so long since I've really looked at a map, to be perfectly honest. I don't remember all the states are at, but I want to say that I kind of go that way, but I thought Idaho might have been a little bit higher. Uh, but the other point that I was going to try and make, though, is I know a lot of people would like to see and meet and so on and so forth. And what I would like to try and do is see if I couldn't plan a couple stops at a few different Lego stores, if it's at all possible, and kind of give people an idea of what time frame I might be there at. But the biggest thing with that is it's a time constraint thing, because I'm going to be having, it's going to be 2 days on the road there, 1 full day of setup, 2 days on the road home. So it's going to be kind of a rushed trip, because I can't take too much time off of work. But I mean, I can stop and say hi for like 30-40 minutes or something like that. I can't do long day trips, because I do have a full-time job I got to get back to. So that is another thing I have to try and take into consideration. Joshua was saying, I must have missed something. What are you talking about? You taking a road trip? If I get what it is I'm still negotiating. Let me grab some parts so I can work while I'm talking. Hold on one second. It's looking like I have a commission job that's actually going to be going through, and which that's something I have to talk to, and I need to email you about Blinky Bricks. But anyway, I'm going to be doing a commission job for Texas. We're kind of in the final stages of agreement, but it looks like it's going to. Am I pulling on? No, okay. Looks like it's going to be a go. We just got a few final things we have to agree upon, and once we agree upon those things, it's probably going to be a full go. And then I will be taking a trip to Texas, because I have to deliver the build once it's actually completed. Idaho is a border state with Canada, but if you head to Portland for a show, you would drive right by it. Okay, Portland is not something I'm going to be driving through then, because I thought it was kind of up there. But so that's doesn't mean I won't ever do it in the future, but it's not something I intend on doing anytime in the near future. Steve says, if you know who, I like to get that person's opinion on the quality. They look great. I missed a comment because I'm not sure what you're referring to. Bricklock says, I can verify that Paul Bott does eat food. We sat down for dinner. Oh, that's right. You were the one that he got to do a date with. Or I shouldn't say a date, but you guys did a little meetup. So actually, with that being said, Bricklock, you could even... I mean, how far away were you from Paul? I'm just curious, because we could even try and schedule you in there as well. Just to kind of give you a heads up, when I am looking at doing the street name, or the street, I'm reading and talking at the same time. When I am looking at doing that traveling, it wouldn't be until, I'm trying to remember what the day, end of October towards the middle of November is when that trip would actually be occurring. Ravens. Yeah, we've had that discussion in Discord too, haven't we, Raven? And I do get that. I really do. So that's getting blinding. I do understand that totally. Because the way that you're doing your animations and stuff, I have to say, does look extremely cool. So I understand your thought and logic on that. Because now that I've seen your animations, that they look really, really good. And I need... I'm saying, I thought Bricklock built... Because I see everybody's asking. I'll say, I thought he built some Old King. Who was it that just built... Was it... I believe it's called Slubin? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm hoping to get there before the 18th of November. The reason I say that is, isn't that usually when snow starts coming? Because I don't want it to be like my trip last year. Last year sucked. I was in such a hurry. I was supposed to try and meet up. I was going to try and meet up with Matt if we could. And I was also going to try and meet up with Charm City Bricks, which is somebody I talk to regularly. And John Garrett, the Lego Fire guy, was somebody else I wanted to try and meet up with. But again, because I do have time constraints to get back to my job, that everything kind of got washed because I got stuck in a snowstorm and it screwed me out of so much time. But that would be cool to do. But like I said, it all depends on the time constraints and all that. Because for me, it's going to be get there as quick as possible, get it set up, and then I can see how much time I have to get home. And then my trip home is when I would try and do little stops if I could. Okay, that was something I was going to ask. And Bricklock just confirmed it. The bricks are fine, but they're only if you buy the sets that are not stolen. See, now that's what it was. Okay, it was Bricklock that built the van. See, there's my problem with when people say purist and whatnot. That's where I get my pet peeves, and I guess everybody's pet peeves are different. But my pet peeve for different companies is quite simply because I don't have a problem with off-brand products. I don't have a problem with off-brand builds. I'll give you a prime example. The company that I'm working with, for those of you that do not or are not aware of it, Light Take is somebody I partnered with, and they are selling my complete train station, instruction pieces and all, for $576 if I remember correctly. Um, and yeah, that's exactly Matt. But the point that I was going to get at is one of the things that, and I haven't seen their product yet. What I mean by that is I haven't seen their pieces yet. They are supposed to be sending me a copy of my train station, but it is a Chinese company, so I'm going to say that up in advance, and it takes a little while to get here. But here was the reason that I admired Light Take so much, and that is they don't have any sets at all. They're kind of like Kobe. For those of you that are not aware with Kobe, Kobe does nothing but military sets. They do a lot of different boats. They do the Titanic. They do a really nice looking Titanic set. And I had actually thought about trying to purchase that to build it. But the point that I was going to get at is Kobe is just like this Light Take in the aspect of they're only selling stuff that is either an official set or, like in my situation, in every building that is on their website is something where they've approached the person like myself, asked permission to buy the instructions, and then they are selling it, and then they're actually giving me a cut of the sales. So it's helping me, it's helping them, and I'm really curious to see how their products are. I would imagine because even with different off-brand Legos, they've come a really long way. I can't imagine them being bad, but I mean, you never know, and that's why I still want to see their product. I haven't actually played with their actual building products yet, but I'm very hopeful that it is a good product because for me, if it is a good product, and we've already been talking about possibly other sets that we might design or they might take on and they might sell, so on and so forth. And I'm also in negotiations with them in regards to them sending me, if you've never been to the Light Take website, let me just say this. If you've never been to the Light Take website, I really recommend that you go there. They have some really amazing mocks. One of the mocks that they have that I think is just absolutely awesome is a town hall building, I believe is what it's called anyway. It's 23,000 pieces. The set retails on the Light Take website, I think currently for $896. And I'm just looking at that and it's like, holy crap. I mean, the details on this building are amazing. But just like with my building, they put the designer's name on it and they put the designer's logo on it and all that good stuff. So to me, I admire companies like that because they're willing to work with other designers to design and build and offer sets for sale that otherwise Lego would never even look twice at. Because Lego, as far as like my train station, for example, I couldn't even, back when I was into Lego Ideas, I wasn't even allowed to post my train station on Lego Ideas because it has too many pieces. They have I believe it's a 5,000 part count limit or something like that for Lego Ideas submissions, or it might have been a 3,000 part count limit on Lego submissions. But because my train station was 8,700 pieces, I couldn't even submit it. And I'm actually glad that I didn't, because here's the reason why I don't, and I know I'm rambling, but I'm going to try and get to a point here. Here's part of the reason why I don't mess with Lego Ideas anymore. Quite simply because if I posted, let's say that they would let me actually, I designed the instructions for this and I posted this on Lego Ideas and they accepted it. The minute that this gets posted on Lego Ideas and they accept that as an idea, I no longer have rights on that set. I can't sell it. I can't sell instructions. I can't do anything with it for a minimum of 2 years. And that's why I will not do, deal, submit, or anything with Lego Ideas anymore, because to me, it's my idea. I don't care if I'm submitting it to your website or not. I should still have the right, because it's my original intellectual property, whatever the word is. It's my original thoughts, designs, and builds, and I should be able to do what I want with it. Because even if your idea is turned on, or turned down, they still have a 2-year period where you're not allowed to do anything with it. And trying to go back to the comments, Bricklock says, if I buy a set that was from a designer, I donate money to the actual designer, and that's cool, and that's why I sell instructions. Recon Wire, that's too much. What are you talking about? That's too much for a 23,000 piece set. You think $800 is too much? You've obviously never bought a really expensive Lego set before. Bricks was saying, talking to Mike. Mike Lamolino says, what I thought we usually most get around 30 inches of snow. Talking about snow. We ever had was 70 to 75 inches, and that was way back in this. I hope not. And thank you so much for posting that link, Bricks. Bricklock, Illinois says Mold King does pay most designers, and their most recent sets are paid for. Some of the older sets are not. And John McKinley, hey, how you doing? Lego Homes, how you doing, my friend? But to me, like I said, though, that's just, let's talk, because since we did have a comment, even though we removed it, because to me that's just a silly comment to make. But the Millennium Falcon, correct me if I'm wrong, just under 8,000 pieces, and that is a $850 set. So how a 23,000 piece set is too high at 800 pieces, or at $800, I just I'm okay. And yes, I do agree with that, Paul. I just saw your comment, and I wanted to make sure that I just caught that as well. But because I would like to, once I get some of this other stuff kind of going around, I would like to start doing shows. I want to do a show here in Michigan, and I want to do a show in Chicago, and I would also like to do the show at Virginia as time progresses. Let me put it that way. Currently, right now, I'm not set up for it, and what I would probably do is take some of my smaller buildings that I know, because like my Avengers Tower, that's something I would love to show, but if I'm going to show it, it's probably only going to be here in Michigan, because I don't picture that building being a travel well building, where something like this building I designed modular, so with the lights and all that, this would be easy to break down and travel and take places and do things with. So if I'm going to be traveling, I don't know that I'll ever show the Avengers Tower except in Michigan only, but I would love to go to several different fairs just to try and meet up with people and get to say hi and all that good stuff. And hey, how you doing, H4T3 Macro Bricks? Good day to you, my friend. So that is something I would like to do, and let me relocate this camera a little bit, and I'm going to try and turn this table a little now that I've got this portion kind of illuminated. Let's see if I have the space in the room anyway. And I am going to, let's see if we can't turn. And then I'm going to redo the camera too, so bear with me. There we go. I wanted you guys to be able to kind of see, if I can. I'm hoping that's not too jumpy anyway. So there's the flower shop, now that it's lit up. And I will be tucking that wire in a little better. Right now that's just kind of there. And then the next store I've got to do the Brick Loot shop. And then that last one, let's see if I can unhook the camera. I've got it kind of trapped. And this was Bruce Kuhn's build, just to kind of show you guys if I can get it up and in here. But that was his Sharky Poor Boy shop. I was trying to show you in there. So all that front stuff is lit up. We have the back of the building all lit up. And now what I'm going to try and do is, what I want to do is put some lights here, and then come down into the platform, come over, and then I'm going to be replacing this with a light, and then we're going to come over again, come back up, and start lighting up that side is what my plan is. Hey, Whiskey Shred, how are you, my friend? And there we go. But that is my plan right now. I'm gonna, because I am gonna come back just to show you guys, because it is a sloppy mess right now. I am gonna be coming back and doing a much better job on the lighting. Right now, all my wire is just kind of hanging in there, just kind of thrown in random places. But my primary function for the moment is I'm trying to get an idea of where I need to hide it, I guess is the point I'm trying to get at. And thank you, Philippe. I appreciate that. He says that internal view is awesome. Anyway, though, now I'm trying to figure out, because I had some specific lights for this. And I'm not sure which way they light up, so let's play with one of these. Make sure I didn't have one open already. Nope. This is going to be, because this is the brick loot light that I got, so this is going to be replacing. And I know I really loved my original design. I think that thing's a thing of beauty. I just don't know how I would be able to light that up, and I might even try and work on that at a later date myself. But these are the light posts that I actually got. I thought these would still be attractive, though, in the Plaza as well. And thank you, John. I appreciate that. Ah. Jammin', I see. BC Rich. I haven't heard that. That was when I was playing in bands. BC Rich was one of my guitarists' favorite guitars. He really liked the sound of the BC Riches. And it was funny because his last name was Mick Ritchie, so he always said that the guitar was made for him. And that does shine the right way. And I'm just trying to see if that's going to work the way that I want it to. And hey there, Talos Moonbreaker. And I want to redesign this, I think, just a touch. Give me 1 second while I look for a part. And I need one more part. And thank you so much. Macro Bricks just donated $5 and says question 17. Question 17 likes, 39 watching. What up with that? Thank you, Macro. I appreciate that, buddy. That's cool. I did not know that. BC Rich's son is out where he lives, and he makes Warlock guitars. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And I don't know if I'm going to like this plan, design, whatever, or not, but I am trying it anyway. Let's see. I'm wondering if that's going to be too much light. if I put 3 of these on there. I'm almost wondering if I would rather be better off with a light bar. Because if I do 2 more of those, I almost feel like that is going to wash out. And yeah, that was part of the problem, macro, is my first stream I started and it kind of pooped out on me, unfortunately. My internet, as we all know, is not the best internet in the world. So this is actually the second stream. So I probably had more likes than I have now because of the first one. See, I'm almost thinking that's going to wash the sign out too much, and I don't want to wash the sign out. So I'm starting to think this might. Now, the funny thing is in person it doesn't look that bad, but on this camera, it looks like it's washing out the sign. Let me pull this off for just a minute. And let's play with this just a little bit more. And do one more quick thought. Let's see if we make it a little higher, if that will make a difference. Let me add one more light. Because I would really like this to work out. What do you think, guys? You think 3 lights would be too much? And thank you, Whiskey Shred. He says the tree is awesome. Trying to get back a little. Which once it's dark in here, it might actually help the appearance. Let me do that too. See, it's funny because to me it's washing it out, but it's only on that camera that it's washing it out. In person it looks good, but Mike says he likes it with the 2 lights. Kyle says 2 lights. And thank you so much, Whiskey, about the tree. And yes, you will be jumping around again, Steve or John. I wonder, in trying to show you again the back. That shows you the back of the building. I'm gonna have to take a picture though and show you guys in Discord. So I guess it still whites it out there too. Oops. I do agree though, I think the 3rd light is probably too much. I think just the 2 is more than enough. like it in person. I don't like it on camera. Yes, I agree. The part of the sign definitely disappears. And hey, how you doing, Kenneth Swan? Like I said, in the images, it's just totally washing out. I think that's just too bright of an LED is what the problem is. What I'm wondering, let's try something else. Let's get some light back on. And I should have, let's look at, trying to see what other colors I have. Clear, orange, red, green. Let's try I almost feel like yellow would look better here. When you're talking about the back side of the building, Thomas Davey, the middle one is a yellow LED. This is what I put on the back for the LED light from Brick Loot. And then the other two are just, where did I put them? This is what the center one is, which is the yellow. And then these are the other two, which are the clear. So yes, the center one is a different color. But I do want to point out, coming back to that since we're talking about it, I do want to point out though that I still have a dark gray or a dark black trans piece over top of the white light, and I did that just to give it a little bit of dimming, because if you've ever seen the exterior lights on a building, typically as they start to age, which they don't even have to age, there's a little bit of a discoloration usually to the lens, and this one I'm considering to be an older light, and that's why I did the dingy lens, and then I also did the yellow. Sadly, I don't think they sell any of these in warm white. I can make my own. I've never looked. But do I currently have any? No, I don't have any warm white. Everything is just white. I think they might sell warm white, but I didn't get any received, let me put it that way. And I agree with you, Bricklock, that those pictures that you showed were absolutely amazing. But yeah, looking at this, I'm thinking I need a color change on those. I could whip my own up real quick. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that, Kenneth Swan. Because to me, and the really cool thing is, I don't know if you've noticed it or seen it or not, they've come out with a couple different sets now. So now that road plate piece, as we refer to it, also comes in green, it comes in tan, and I believe it is also coming in white, which would actually be the absolute best color to use for a ceiling, would be white. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree, Whiskey Shred. Anyway, though, guys, I am noticing that it's way past what I planned on staying up to, because I am an old man, as Paul Bott will say, and I do need to get my sleep. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here. I'm going to start trying to stream this as much as possible, so that way everybody can kind of get an idea of the process as I go along for the lighting and how I'm kind of just, because right now I'm kind of in the, let's get the lights in it, and then I'm going to go to the, I'll worry about hiding them a little better, and then I'm going to go to building and doing this portion of the lighting as well. But anyway, though, I need to roll that beautiful bean footage because I do need to get my butt into bed. So with that being said, roll that beautiful bean footage. And I hope you guys can hear me over my obnoxiously loud air conditioning. But anyway, I really want to quickly give a very special thanks to all the people that help support the stream. And with that being said, I want to give a special thanks to Ned B, John Evans, and Macro Bricks. And I don't know why it did not play the other people, but in the first stream that got cut off, I did have donations from Kyle Dunbar, Paul Bott, Brick Sargent, Steve Weisner or Weiser also. So I do want to make sure that their names are recognized, as well as Ned B, Macro, and John Evans. But again, thank you everybody. I really appreciate it. You guys are all awesome. And as always, I would not do what I do without all the support and constant help from all you guys out there. But on that note, I'm going to end here. So as always, thank you for coming to Bevan's Bricks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share below. And hopefully, we'll see you next time on Bevan's Bricks.